Okay, how y'all doing today? This is The Narrative Matters. I am your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, the best film writer and director in St. Louis, Facts, award-winning, published author, journalist, activist, business owner, Lacey G. Souldier Turner. Today, I am here with one of the most iconic figures of hip-hop, scholars, speaker, one of the greatest actors to me, growing up. Christopher Play Martin, welcome.
Where's that person at?
I'm looking at him right now.
I thought they were behind me, but this wall. And I appreciate that from we'll call it prophetic, from your lips to God's ears. We'll call most of that prophetic.
Sean, the guy who played Waldo, was on Punky Brewster. And so, like a couple episodes after I was there, he appeared, and my homeboy was there. So it was amazing.
A family reunion.
Yeah.
So, how was Steve Urkel on set?
Depends on what day. He's very talented.
I like it, Jerry. You be keeping it real. You like, look, I'm gonna tell the truth. This is what it is.
Yeah, I probably ain't the one you want to ask.
I love it.
You don't want the truth.
Well, one of the honey wagons opens. The guy comes out, walks towards us, and sees me, and says, "Wait a minute. You Victor Newman?" I said, "Yeah." Man, mother, goddamn, you're Victor Newman. Shit, man, goddamn. I used to watch you, the Hoover Street Gym. I used to box in Compton, in the ghetto. My son and I were the only white guys there. He, Ice Cube, and his brother used to hang out there watching people box at the Hoover Street Gym.
I remember I came to my dad's house and I just was like, "Dad, I'm gonna try to rap now," and like he listened to my song and he told me it was trash. Like, so I was like, "Oh shit!" So imagine like you coming up with like you dreaming of rapping and like your dad be like, "No," you know what I'm saying, like that. So it wasn't really until 19 until me and my brother decided to like put out like our first project and take it like serious and all of that.
But I think the future is what you make it. It's just everybody got different approaches to feelings, So it's a lot of shit that happened, but a lot of shit happens because it's, sometimes it's because it's their first time, and sometimes first time can last 20 years. That's your first time, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm guaranteed 2 Chainz ain't gonna do what he did when he was with DTP that he doing now.
Exactly, yeah.
Lil Wayne ain't doing the same thing he was doing with that after he got the money back from Cat.
Lacey Turner, hi, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you also. I say, how y'all doing today? I am your host, Lacey G. Souldier Turner, and today I have a very special guest with me. She's one of the most prolific actresses to walk the face of the earth. She has appeared in 4 Broadway shows, 68 movies, over 450 episodic television shows, including Blackish, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and many, many more. She's toured in concert all over the world. She has won many film awards and activist awards. Y'all already know, man. We got St. Louis native, Kenlock bred, Miss Jennifer Lewis. Welcome to the platform. My first question I have for you, I know you were born and raised in our hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, from the Kenlock neighborhood. Can you tell the people about Kenlock for the people that don't know?
Kenlock, it was an all-black self-governed township It was at one time the largest all-black township in America, the population 3,000. I think those statistics are right, but you'll check me out. And also, you know, we were poor, but, you know, being the baby of the family, I didn't really know we were poor. So we lived in like an all-black Peyton Place. And Peyton Place was a show on television where everything seemed to be just fine with everybody, you know what I mean? It was a white world, but ours was black, and you know, the television was shit back then. None of us were really represented, but we got what we got, you know? And
each other again. So then, fast forward, about 3 months later, I hear on the radio, oh yeah, Ice Cube's coming to town. He's looking, if you think you could be the next, this person, that person, Ronnie, vanilla, chocolate, da da da. Come down and audition. He's having auditions. So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go to these auditions. I'm not thinking anything about acting. I'm like, I gotta go because I need to see Cube to get this information and get him my music. Because by the time I had another little tape, because that's when they was doing tapes still.
Was you Wicked? Was your name Wicked? Was your name Wicked?
Of course. so I was like, I gotta go because I gotta get in my tape. So I was working, by that time I was working 2 jobs. I was working at the law firm and I was working at this art gallery.
Controversial question. So I see a lot of people always get into it, like have issues with Steve Harvey. I know you'd have had your issues. Why do you think that is? Like, it seems like almost every comedian be in it with Steve Harvey.
Well, till this day, I have respect for Steve Harvey. And I think that we clash for one reason. And I was told this several times. It seems that comedians that really make it, or actors that really make it, they don't give a fuck about the culture. This is what I've been told. I love our people, and I want to see us escalate. And so with Steve, I'm from New York, and I was actually the crowd warmer when he was doing the Apollo. And my style of dressing, the people loved it. And I don't think Steve really wanted to share the light at that time because I was just supposed to be a crowd warmer. But I was that monster on stage that kept people laughing until he came on. And he even admitted it in one of his interviews that he saw the love. He didn't say me specifically. He said he saw the love that the crowd warmer was getting. And so he prevented the crowd warmer from coming on stage as much as he could. So he stayed out there and tried to warm up the crowd.
So how did you meet Tupac?
I met Tupac through my older brothers and my god brother. They all used to, hang around with one another in the neighborhood, around the community and things like that. So yeah, that's how I ended up meeting Tupac.
Okay. With the time that you did get to spend with him, how was he as a person?
He was, quiet, artistic people, when you're kind of different, back in our day, people used to cap on each other rapping and stuff like that. So, we grew up in that era where people will rap and cap on each other and things like that. So you'll see him do them type of things, but that was normal stuff you see on the schoolyard,
Yeah.
And he was very, to himself at times too, because I know he was still coming out, trying to do his own album as well. So I believe he was doing a lot of observing and looking around, to capture things to inspire him to write.
So yeah.
Okay, so now to the part you already know, man.
Yeah.
You kill Omar. Everybody, he was the most beloved character on there. So how did you find out about, like, you get the script like, hey, you got to kill Omar, and then I heard you was crying afterwards. So
yeah.
How did you feel afterwards? How did you find out that you had to kill him, and then how did you feel like afterwards?
So the way we found out, we got the sides are basically the script beforehand, and I'm reading it and I'm reading through, and I'm like, nah, let me take this to Dad. Let me see if this is reading right. I took it to my father. He's reading it, and then he just makes a face. He was like, "You gonna shoot Omar?" And it was like, "Oh." It was like, "Oh." He did. It was one of, how you looking at something, you like, what I'm saying? It was one of those for him. So, my mom.
He was like, "Ed Burns, is this a typo?" No.
Right there, exactly.
But the psychology of that, working with kids at that age, trying to get them to smile, I think was really instrumental in helping me learn how to deal with kids in school, because then as my life turned another page, I used all of those techniques in dealing with primary or elementary school kids that I've worked with on the bullying issue, the name calling and stuff. So that was really beneficial, yeah.
So when did you get your first tattoo and what was it?
Well, my first tattoo, everybody thinks I started getting tattooed like they do today. They start getting tattooed at 15, 16. They start sticking themselves with India ink and a needle in the back room somewhere, thinking that's hip, but I can tell you right now it's dangerous. But anyway, I got my first tattoo at 30. 30 years old, I waited. I knew I was going to get one, but I wore a suit and tie, see.
Yeah, so you was most known for your humor as Brooklyn alongside T.I., like I spoke earlier, in the critically acclaimed ATL. How did you get that role, and what was it like acting with some of these great actors up there?
Yeah, I was able to go and tell Chris Robinson. I was able to meet him right during Def Poetry. I actually brought him to my Def Poetry taping. So that story I just explained, Chris Robinson, the director of ATL, was in the seat watching me sweat. And after that, he says, "Man, you'd be perfect for this movie I got. Can you make it to Atlanta?" And I said, "Yeah, I got you." But they know me as Pun's cousin, so they don't think I can't just go down there. He was actually in New York auditioning for the Brooklyn character and didn't find anyone. The next day, he leaves to Atlanta. But I ain't have no money. My nephew was just born. And I pieced off my sister and whatever I had. And I was just a young poet, right? Selling CDs and stuff.
So you're like, sure, I can make it. I need somebody.
Yeah. I went on the train. And I did poetry on the train. Don't go the local train, go on the express train, because you got more time to get your poem on. And New York paid for that character to exist.
You need all this money to do things. And if you want to start, let's see, a podcast or whatever that is, you have to be smart and have people around you that you trust, and as good people, because there are always people around you that are negative, that put you down. So try to get rid of all that negativity and surround yourself with good people and have a goal. The goal is important, even if you don't achieve exactly that goal, but have a goal and work towards that goal. And something can happen in between, so maybe it will change this, but it's important to focus. Focus is number one in business. If and not try to do everything. Like when I started and starting to do a little better, people say, "Oh, you should come out with another fragrance, another this, another that." No. Don't say about one thing. I don't want to do all this. People say, "Oh, come out with an underwear, come out with this," and I did, but no, just concentrate and focus. And little by little, it takes some time. Sometimes it will go down a little bit, but then just believe in it and it will go up again. And that's how we see most successful people can tell you all these stories, how they started with craziness and that, but they believed in yourself and they were strong.
How y'all doing today? How are you doing today? I am your host, Lacey G. Souldier Turner. And today, man, my guest, man, to me is one of the greatest actors, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all done seen him in Power. Y'all done seen him in Ballers, man. Y'all done seen him in my favorite show, The Breaks. You already said, man. We got my boy Antoine Harris, man. How you doing today?
Man, I'm great, man. I'm great, bro. Thank you for having me, brother. I really appreciate being here. I know the I know the video is off because I'm laying in bed. G already know.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. He a little sick today, yeah, but it's all good. We go get to it after this phase. So
Yes, sir.
my first question to you, Antoine, is can you give me let me know where you were born and raised and give us some background history for you in your younger days?
Absolutely, man. I was born and raised. I was actually born in Brooklyn, and I was raised in Jamaica, Queens, New York City. Yeah, my mom's and my pops had us out in Jamaica, Queens. It was in Cambria, to be specific. Man, I went to PS 176, then I went to 216, then I went to Holy Cross, then I went to Virginia Tech. Coming up, I ran track, played basketball. I was an athlete, had an older sister. Grew up in the 90s, you know, so those golden years for hip hop, and, you know, kind of around the time where I found my footing and figured out what I wanted to do with my life. You know, it was around the time I figured out, hey man, I want to test the waters with this acting thing. You know, I didn't have a opportunity or like a family member who was in the game, or like, you know, like kind of like a path to get through, if that makes sense. Like nobody kind of like shaped me and showed me the way. So when I came back from school, I just started modeling to kind of get myself in rooms with people who I would never.
So what advice would you give to an upcoming singer or a rapper who's trying to break into this industry? You'd have been through it all, you'd have seen it all. What advice would you give them?
Know the business. Right now is the easiest way to become famous, an artist. There's different outlets that we didn't have back in the day. We didn't have TikTok. We didn't, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have. So I would learn the business. That's always going to be my first priority, to tell everyone. Learn the business. There's so many ways that you can get paid through this music, but you know, you have to know it.
The label was just chasing the rivalries. You
They didn't want to hear y'all other stuff. They just wanted that one sound.
Nah, they didn't like Air Force Ones.
What?
They didn't like grills. They ain't like grills. It was too urban. They were urban records that became popular. So yeah, Grills is a pop song right now. Air Force One is a popular song, but it started off with this is an urban record. So they never really cared about that. So when those songs were number one, they were shocked. They didn't like Country Grammar.
Wow.
Song, Down, Baby.
That's crazy.
No, they wanted to go straight around me. They knew that was the one that was gonna get white America, black America. They just knew that was the one. So that, and then two was like we saying, Waiting on City